Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk every Sunday at noon here on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay. All right, let me get some announcements out of the way. So my book is back in stock if you want to order it from chrisgodinez.com. So also there was some confusion on the mugs, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So these two are available on chrisgodinez.com. I will autograph them for you. I'll even put in one of my little sayings in there. I'll keep it clean. So these are available on chrisgodinez.com. You can also order them off of Amazon, and you can also get them Audible, where I read it out loud because I like doing my own reading for that. So these are available again. The mugs are also available on chrisgodinez.com. Now, people were going, oh my gosh, they're really expensive. Why are they so expensive? Because the sending is included. So I don't care if you live in Madagascar, I'll send it to you. I don't care if I have to eat the postage and it takes up all of everything that I would have made on it, because I want them out of my house, guys. I'm not kidding you. I want my house clean. I want to get this stuff out. So these mugs are available on chrisgodinez.com. The packaging, the sending, the postage, that's the word I'm looking for, is included. So don't worry about it. Order to your heart's content. Please help me get these out of my house. Okay. There is that. Susanna Quintana is your girl if you are looking for someone to help you. I'm going to be talking about something that she's going to help you with, talking about parallel parenting. So Susanna Quintana at susannaquintana.com. She's a goddess. I love her. She's awesome. Her book's amazing. You can get that on her website as well. Let's see, are there any other? Please do not friend me on my personal account. I will not friend you back. If you want to get a taste of who I am, go to my Chris Godinez LPC public speaker page. That is where I post social issues and Victorian houses and Victorian dresses, because I'm a kind of a Victorian, fanaticism here. I love it. I love the houses. They just, oh my God, clearly a past life. Anyway, so yeah, so there's that. So that's Chris Godinez LPC public speaker. That's where you can go kind of, connect on a more personal level. Anytime you guys have questions, or if you'd like me to do a show on a topic, please IM me on either the LPC page, the We Need to Talk page, because I get those, so I can, start assimilating. I have a list of shows that people want me to do, so it might take me a while to get to them, but I promise I will get to them. And if I don't, within a month or two, send me another IM, because sometimes things just kind of, slip by. So anyway. All right, I think that's it. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic. Hi, everybody. So today's topic is parallel parenting, and a great book. Where did it go? Splitting by Randy Krieger and Bill Eddy. If you are in the middle of a divorce, if you're thinking about getting a divorce, if you started a divorce, get this book and read it, because they cover everything that I'm going to be talking about today. So when you are divorcing a disordered person, it is not like a normal divorce. Not that there's ever really a normal divorce, but with non-disordered people, there's a lot less acrimony, and there's a lot less drama, and there's a lot less conflict. So when you are looking for an attorney, and one of the questions I had earlier this week was, why now? Why are the divorces so crazy now? Because people wait till after the holidays. They don't want to upset the kids. They don't want to whatever. And so they wait, and then they file generally in the January, February time period. And then they do it again after summer break. So be aware of that. Somebody said that the dockets were very, very, very full, partly because of COVID, partly because people are getting divorced a lot. It's like this whole being quarantined thing is really heating up dysfunctional relationships. And so people are being forced to do that if it's abusive. So, okay. So things I want you to keep in mind: narcissists, malignant borderlines, not traits of, when they're all the way down at the other end, they don't work on themselves. They're not interested in changing. They haven't gotten help. They're psychotic, they're narcissistic, and they're Machiavellian, which is control freak. They are a nightmare in court. because they have a scorched earth policy. Remember, the narcissist must be right at literally all costs. They don't care that it's harming the kids. They don't care that they're bankrupting you. They don't care that they're bankrupting themselves or their family, because usually they ask their mommy and daddy for the money. So yeah, I've seen that happen a lot. So they do a scorched earth policy. So do not expect this divorce to be one and done. It's not, unless, caveat, sometimes if the narcissist is the one to initiate the divorce and they've already got another supply and they've already moved on, great. Take advantage of that, get her done. Make sure that you get a good attorney that gets all of the things in there that you are going to need, such as right of first refusal. So if they choose not to take the kids, they can't just hand them off to Joe Blow. They have to call you so that you've got the custody of the kids for that weekend or that night or whatever it is. You are also not going to get full custody unless there is documentable neglect or abuse going on. And unfortunately, the courts do not consider verbal abuse. They don't. DCS, oh, don't get me started, does not consider verbal abuse, even though it is. It is abuse. I mean, obviously, you and I all know this. It's like, oh, gee, yay, this is going to make the kid turn out really good. No, it's not. So what usually the courts do is they do a split custody. It's usually 50-50. They are loath to give more custody to one or the other, unless, caveat, you can prove that there is a neglect or abuse going on. And I don't just mean verbal. You've got to document, and have witnesses. That's really what you're going to need. You're going to need a good attorney that understands high conflict divorces. You are going to want right of first refusal. I've already said that. And you're also going to want decision in medical. Because what I've also seen narcissists do is that they'll get the decision in medical and then they will deny the kid dental, glasses. Yeah. I have this vision of like an asteroid just coming down and smashing them into little pieces. You know, it's just, you don't do that to a kid, but they do. So don't expect them to be generous or kind or wanting to get this done quickly unless, caveat, they have another supply to go to. So narcissists will drag this out for as long as they possibly can. And they'll continue to drag you back into court if things don't go their way. So just be prepared. This is, you're in a battle. You're in a spiritual battle. You are in a physical battle. You are in a legal battle. So make sure you got good support and all of that sort of good stuff. Okay. So with parallel parenting, no narcissist is going to co-parent. Healthy parents co-parent. Healthy parents recognize that the child's wants and needs and health needs to come first. That's what healthy parents do. It's like the whole reason you have kids is so that they're healthy, so that they can go on and have kids and be healthy and have kids that are healthy and go. See where I'm going with that? It's like a L'Oreal commercial, and so on and so on and so on. Anyway, but they don't. They don't care about the kid. What they care about is hurting you, especially if you're the one that initiated the divorce. So you're never going to co-parent. Co-parenting means cooperation, okay? Narcissists don't know how to cooperate. They have no clue how to play nice. They don't, because everything is a competition with them and everything is a win. So here are some things that you need to be really, really aware of. They're going to do parental alienation. Abso-freaking-lutely. They're going to start trying to turn the kid against you. So when the child is with the opposite parent, the one that's disordered, they're going to be bad-mouthing you like nobody's business. And they're going to be making it real clear to the kid that they have to agree with them. So a lot of parents are shocked, when as the divorce thing goes on and no therapy is going on, that the kids are starting to turn against them. Well, children will try to disease to please the parent who is the most difficult in order to get that approval and love. And they will turn against the safer parent because they know the safer parent's not going to do anything, but they're terrified of the other parent. So in your custody agreement, you must have that the children get counseling and that you have medical say and that you get to approve the counselor. Because the other thing that these motherfuckers do, God, I hate them, is that they will pick a disordered counselor themselves, or they'll pick one of these humanistic counselors that are like, oh, narcissists are misunderstood. No, motherfucker, they're not. I know exactly what they're doing. Don't you even go there. Oh, God, I hate people like that. Anyway, so they'll pick a counselor that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and they'll let the kid go there, and that counselor starts working on them. So you want to make sure that you get final say in who the counselors are for the kids. Get the kids into counseling. I'm not fucking kidding you. Drives me crazy when people are like, well, do I really need to do that? Yes, yes, you do. Why? Because these guys and gals will start working on your child. And then about 5-10 years later, I'll get a phone call going, my child hates me. I don't understand why. Did you get him into counseling? No. Oh my God, why am I talking? Listen to what I say. I'm not kidding you. I have been doing this for how many years now? 2007. Yeah. So these people will turn the kids against you. They will do alienation, parental alienation. And this is so damaging to the child. And this is why it's really good to get them into therapy, because 1, you don't want your relationship with the kid being damaged. 2, the kid needs a safe outlet so that they can talk about what's going on. 3, you need another set of eyes on it in case you ever do want to challenge custody, so that you can be like, oh, hell no. Let's get the notes from the therapist, shall we? That kind of thing. So, yeah, and you want to make sure that the child has a safe place to vent. Now, that's the other problem, is that the kid will get into therapy, and then the opposing parent will demand to know everything that is said in therapy. You need to get with a good therapist that basically says this child's session is this child's session, and unless they are a harm to themselves or a harm to others, their session is quiet. It's theirs. It's private. HIPAA laws. Now, according to the HIPAA laws, they're minors, so the parents have a right to know what's going on, but it is up to the discretion of the therapist as to whether or not to share that. So let me just make that really clear. So, yeah, and what they'll do is, because narcissists know they're in the wrong and they know there's something wrong with them, they will demand that the therapist tell everything. If the therapist is not going to give your child privacy, find another therapist. So there is that. And this is just horrible. It makes me so mad. They use the kids as pawns. That is the worst thing. And they will use the kids as pawns. And I've talked about this before. They'll send the kid back over to your house with no shoes, or shoes that are too small, or whatever. You document everything. You document everything. This is part of neglect. You have to show that they are being neglectful, that they are forcing the child to go to school in clothes that do not fit them, or that are so torn that the school ends up having to give them gym shorts to wear because, it's inappropriate. Yes, they will do that. Yeah, they're just vindictive, evil bastards. And so they use the kids as the pawn. They'll use the kids to relay messages. So you're going to have a good talk with the kids about how your home life is private. Dad's home life is private. You can tell me whatever you need to tell me, but I'm not going to ask you specifics. Okay. And here, what happens at home stays at home, kind of thing. It's like, we don't need to go sharing this with everybody. And that's a sticky subject, because of course you don't want to teach your child to have secrets or anything, but you also don't want your child being used as a flying monkey by the opposing parent. So again, this is where a therapist really comes in handy to discuss the importance of privacy and to discuss the importance of boundaries and things like that. And these are things that you've got to start talking to your kids about, is privacy and boundaries for themselves, even with mom and dad, especially with a narcissistic parent. So now here's the other big mistake people make in co-parent or parallel parenting. You're never going to co-parent. It's going to be undoing the damage that the narcissist or the abuser does for that 5-2-5-2-2-5-2-2-5 split that most states have. So every time the kid comes back, they're going to be acting out. They're going to be, having a lot of traits of, they're going to be doing some fleas. They're going to be spewing stuff that the narcissist has been placing in their head. They'll be snarky to you. They'll be whatever. So what's going on is that they've just spent 5 whole days with this person, male or female. Remember, both can be abusers. It doesn't, one sex does not have the corner market on this. So they can both be abusers. They will be having the 5 days with them, and they will be manipulating as much as they can while they've got those kids. So as soon as they come back into your custody, it literally takes about 24 hours for the kid to chill the fuck out, get rid of all of those fleas. And parents are often very shocked and surprised. They're like, what the hell? Well, it's because they've just spent an intense amount of time with the abuser, with all of the bad behavior. And the abuser, remember, wants everyone to be a mini them. So they expect the child to behave just like them. So when they come back over to your house, they're dealing with all these fleas. They're dealing with all of this stuff that got shoved into their head. So you've got to nip that behavior in the bud as soon as you see it. No, we do not speak that way to adults. No, we do not act that way. No, I'm not going to put up with your raging. Go to your room, and when you're done and able to speak civilly, come talk to me. So you don't put up with any of the narcissistic behavior. You nip it in the bud, nip it in the bud, nip it in the bud, nip it in the bud. And it's going to be a bear. It is. I'm not lying. I mean, this is, it's annoying. It's just, I wish in a perfect world, first of all, there would be no narcissists. But second of all, if there were, they wouldn't have custody of the kids. It just boggles my mind. But then again, if you look at the justice system, and especially the family court system, and I've talked about this before, they don't get training in this. They're concerned with the letter of the law. That's all the judges care about. So when you're going through a divorce, one thing that is going to be in your favor is that your abuser is going to be thinking that this is their grand opportunity to do grand opera, and this is their stage for telling the world how horrible you are. The judges don't care, and they get annoyed with it. And oftentimes, if the abuser keeps dragging it out, and especially if they act as their own attorney, which they oftentimes do because they're so fucking arrogant, they think they know everything. Anyway, so they'll file motion after motion after motion after motion, and the judge gets fed up because they just want it off their docket. That's all they do, is they just want it off the, can you fucking agree and get it off my docket? That's all they care about. So they do occasionally get fed up with the abuser. But then conversely, sometimes the judge is a narcissist themselves and they side with the abuser because they recognize themselves in the abuser, and it becomes a mobbing session. So Jesus H. Montgomery, there needs to be reform. There absolutely needs to be reform. There absolutely needs to be reform. Anyway, okay, so what they will do is they will split the custody. You're not going to get more custody unless you can actual proof that there is abuse going on. Now, abusers are notorious for expecting everyone to just take them at their word. So that's going to play into your favor. I know a lot of people are freaked out when they've got joint custody with a narcissist going, oh my God, what if? Remember, the law does not care about the drama. The law only cares about actual provable evidence, the facts, the facts. That's it. That's all they want, is provable evidence, the letter of the law. That's what they're concerned with. So they can make all sorts of accusations. Speaking of accusations, they are also more likely to call DCS for bullshit. But the beautiful thing that is DCS, again, concerned with the letter of the law. So they'll investigate. And if it's a fake thing, they'll note that. So that goes in your favor as well. Don't be freaked out by that. I've also seen them call the police on their own children because they don't know how to fucking parent. And so if the child disagrees with them, especially if they're like an older teen and is like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not buying your bullshit. I'm not drinking your Kool-Aid. They'll call the police. But again, this all goes in your favor eventually because the police get sick of these calls and DCS doesn't like these calls and the judges just want this off the docket. So yeah, there is that. Holy crap. The things I have heard, the things I have seen, holy shit in a bucket. I'm not even kidding you. It makes my head hurt sometimes. All right. It definitely makes my heart hurt. Okay. So where are we? Okay. They're going to come back with fleas. One sibling could be relatively okay. And this is, again, nature, nurture, nature, nurture, nature, nurture. So when you have two kids going off 50-50, One sibling could be perfectly fine, be able to roll with whatever happens, come back home, recognize that there's stuff going on. The other sibling may not. Nature, nurture, nature, nurture. And it also depends on who the abuser has picked as the golden child, who the abuser has picked as the scapegoat. So that probably plays a lot into it. This is why the kids are going to need therapy. They are going to need an advocate, a good therapist who understands personality disorders, high conflict divorce, and the bullshit manipulations that these assholes do. Assholes and assholettes. Okay. Okay, medical care, we talked about that. All right. Okay, developmental stages of kids. So, okay, this is the other thing I see narcissistic parents do in the middle of divorces. They start, especially when the kids see the pink elephant taking a shit in the corner of the living room, they realize that that kid's not going to be turned. They realize that they cannot manipulate, control, get them to do their will, be the flying monkey, report on mom or dad. And that's what they do. They do try to get the kids to tell them everything is going. Well, who's your mom seeing? Well, who's your dad seeing? What's going on over there? What's happening? Blah, 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 blah. Putting the kid smack dab in the middle of the divorce. You do not do that. You do not use children as pawns. You do not use them as messengers. You do not use them, but they do. So this is, again, why they need therapy. The kids need a safe place. And the parent needs to hear from a professional, stop using your child as a messenger. Of course, they're going to then demand that that child stop seeing that therapist, but oh well. Okay, so developmental stages of kids. Kids are very egocentric, not in a narcissistic way. So little kids really feel like the sun rises and sets on them because it kind of does, you know. As they get older and they realize, oh, there's other people, they start developing the sense of, oh, I'm a member of this community. There's other people. Oh, okay. And then they start hopefully developing empathy and all of that stuff. They usually show empathy at a very young age, like toddler, baby kind of thing. You know, and so they understand how to function in the world. What narcissists will do is they will pathologize the child. And this is what you've got to be careful of. And this is also why you want somebody to have another set of eyes on it. So they'll pathologize the child. Oh, they're ADHD. They're not listening to me. They're 6. I don't know if you've ever been around 6-year-olds before. They don't really have good attention spans. They just don't. You know, and so they'll start using that to demand that the child be put on drugs. Why? Because they want them drugged out of their mind so that they don't have to deal with them. They do. And then they'll also claim that you're crazy too and you need to be on drugs. That's another thing I've heard them do in court. And it's just like, oh my God. So when you're divorcing these people, you're going to want to have a psych eval done on everybody. Like seriously. So get with a good high conflict divorce lawyer, get a good evaluator, you know, and again, the danger is, okay, you get an evaluator. What if they're charmed? What if they, you know, that's the danger. But if they start trying to push, you know, you need drugs and the kid, you know, your 6-year-old, our 6-year-old needs to be on drugs. Get a psych eval on everybody, And yeah, so that's, parallel parenting is exhausting because you're constantly having to fight against all this stuff. But it's worth it. It's worth it. When you're through it and the kids are adults, yeah, sometimes the kids go with the narcissist. They do. They just do. Other times the kids can see through it the whole time. Other times it takes for them becoming adults and having the narcissist starting to abuse them before they see it. So yeah, this is kind of what happens with parallel parenting, and you're constantly having to undo whatever damage they have done. So with a scapegoat child, they're the problem. Call the cops on them, do all sorts of shit, call them names, put them down. You're stupid. You're this, you're that. This is why a therapist must be involved. So then hopefully you can get CPS or DCS involved, and hopefully you can get them away from that parent. Now, here's the other thing you're going to want to do. As soon as the kid is old enough and they have vocalized that they do not want to go visit that parent anymore because of the verbal abuse, talk to your attorney about getting that child in front of a judge so that they can stop the visits. I know in Arizona that's allowed to do, but talk to an attorney. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. You need to talk to an attorney. But if the child is constantly vocalizing, God, I don't want to go over to mom's house anymore. Oh my God, I don't want to go over to dad's house anymore. He's doing this, that, and the other thing. She's doing this, that, and the other thing. See what the age limit is if you can get them in front of a judge, and hope to God the judge isn't a narcissist themselves, so that the kid can have a voice and say, I don't want to go. I want nothing to do with this person. So there that is. Okay. Kids act out. Kids are going to act out. When you're parallel parenting, there's going to be a lot of acting out, like I said, because they're bouncing back and forth, 5225, 5225. Back and forth, back and forth. The other thing you're going to want to watch for is that a lot of times narcissists start giving up their time with the kids, especially when it's clear that the children are not going to drink the Kool-Aid or play their games or, whatever. The other thing that narcissists do is that they will prevent the child from having communication with the other parent. So that is also something that must be written in your divorce decrees, that the children have the right to have their own cell phones and that you get to speak to them every day that they're over there. And what they will do, though, is they'll stand just outside and listen to everything going on. So be careful of what you say when you are doing your visits. Have a way to communicate with the kids, because what I've seen them do also is, oh, oops, I broke the cell phone. Gosh darn. Well, you break 3, 4, 5 cell phones, it becomes pretty obvious that they're doing it on purpose. Again, document. So, have a way to communicate with the child. Have the child have a safe way to get to you if they need to. So these are all things you got to think about. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Oh, acting out. So kids act out. When there's a lot of stress, they act out. And this is when the abuser is going to demand that they get medicated. No, you don't want to do that. Why? Because the brain doesn't stop developing until age 30 almost. They used to think, oh, it was in the mid-20s. No, they're thinking now it's like around 30. So if you start pumping a kid full of psychotropic drugs, it's going to fuck with their senders and receivers, and they're going to have a hard time in life later on. So unless there is an actual diagnosis of something, absolutely not. So especially if the narcissist has decided that they've now suddenly got a PhD in psychology, it's like, oh, well, I know that they are ADHD, or I know that they are, bipolar, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. So yeah, be careful of that. All right. Acting out is going to be normal, especially when you're a teen. So think about it. When you're a teenager, you've got all of these hormones, you've got the peer stuff going on, we've got the pandemic going on. There's a lot of stress. There's going to be some acting out going on. The important thing for you is consistency. You must be solid. You must be like the Northern Star. You've got to be constant. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be constant. You can't be wishy-washy. You can't be all over the board. So what ends up happening is that in most cases, the crazy does one of two things. They either become so self-absorbed that they don't want the kids around, and they start giving up time, in which case you start documenting that so that you can go back to the court and say, nope, they're giving up their time. I might as well have, more custody of my children. Or they become this punitive, abusive person that the child does not want to be around, in which case, again, talk to an attorney, try to get away from that. Or they become the Disneyland parent, the one that has no rules. So I'm not going to give any rules. You can stay up as late as you want. You can go bring your boyfriend or your girlfriend over. I'm not going to hassle you about birth control, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it sounds, to a teenager, that sounds fabulous. Come on. We were all 14, 15 at one time, and we all would have been like, woohoo, party, but that's the worst thing you can do to a kid, because kids need boundaries. They need guidance, and these people advocate, and they're trying to be their quote unquote friend. You've got to be consistent. There must be boundaries. There must be consistency. You're not their friend. You're their parent. Act like it. That's what they need. They need that certainty. Now, in some times they're going to hate you for it, guarantee it. Well, dad or mom lets me do blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not good for you. You need 8 hours of sleep. Staying up until 3 a.m. is not necessarily a good thing. But again, remember, kids stay up that late when they're with an abuser because they're trying to avoid all the drama. And that's the only time that they're alone with their thoughts. So be aware of that. But yeah, so whoever will be the mom, the Disneyland mom, Disneyland dad, have no rules. The kids, of course, are going to be like, oh, there's no rules. Oh, I don't have to do chores. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But you've got to really explain to them, this is not good. You need to have discipline, because when you get out into the real world, there's rules. There's things you have to do, even when you don't want to. So something to keep in mind. Consistency is really important for the child, really, and not bad-mouthing the other parent. Now, this is a fine line you're going to walk, because you have to be honest about the dysfunctional behavior, but you don't want to badmouth them, because that child is 50% you and 50% them. And when a child hears a parent badmouthing the other child, in their little minds, they go, I'm unworthy, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm this, I'm that, because they don't have the cognitive ability to figure out the fucking bullshit game that's going on here. Does that make sense? So when you're dealing with a parent that's dysfunctional and they're doing things that are dysfunctional, you just point out the incongruencies. Okay, this behavior is not normal. This healthy parents don't do this. Healthy parents are kind, loving, considerate. They don't throw their child up against a wall. Oh yeah. They will turn to physical abuse, and you've got to keep an eye on it and believe your child. And the second they say there's anything physical going on, you call DCS, you call the police, you get a report going, and you try to get custody away, because yeah, they will. Again, remember, dark triads, if they don't get their way and they can't do it verbally, they'll start doing physical stuff. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Maintain your boundaries and your rules. Make sure that the rules are being followed at home. Just because dad is being a jerk or mom is being a jerk does not mean that you lax on what you know is good for those kids. So you keep your boundaries. Okay. No, what did I say? Oh, do not involve the kids in the chaos. Do not involve. You're going to have to try to protect them as much as possible. Mom or dad or whoever is going to try to suck them into, just like a typical abuser, suck them into that chaotic, it's my way or the highway. You're either with me or against me. That is so unfair for children. And they do. I've actually heard them demand that the child pick sides. That is the worst thing for a kid, because remember, children still love their abusers. I mean, in dealing with cases from DCS, the most horrific abuse could be going on, and the kid will still love the abuser because it's their dad or it's their mom. So that's a horrible psychological position to put a child into. So you've got to make sure that they've got therapy. You've got to get a good attorney that is going to be fighting for you, that understands high conflict divorce. Oh, good Lord, I've gone over. High conflict divorce and all the things that they're doing. So this was a huge topic. All right, let me make sure I covered everything. Do not involve the kids in the chaos. Do not badmouth them. Do tell the truth. Do tell the truth. When the behavior is abnormal, point it out as abnormal. Nip the narcissistic fleas in the bud. Do not allow them to continue. Make sure that your rules and your boundaries are in place. Make sure you have a support group. Oh my God, other moms or dads that have been through this, make sure you've got a support group, because this is exhausting, but it's necessary to raise a healthy child in the middle of all of this chaos. So, all right, let me take some questions here. Sorry about that. It was a lot. Okay, let's see, where are we? Okay. I want my son to see the narc on their own, which is why I tolerate the narc, but how long will it take for a 13-year-old to see it? Like I said, sometimes the kids are onto it. Kids are not stupid. They recognize dysfunction. With my dad, when I was little, I knew there was something wrong with him. I did. It was just, the rages were just abnormal. That's not how normal people behave. It didn't feel right. Weird thinking, all of that. But then other kids, they don't see it, they just don't, because they're so worried about getting the approval of the parent who clearly does not approve of themselves, let alone anybody else. And especially if the kid is being the scapegoat, they're constantly going to be trying to get the approval. So, and sometimes they never see it. And again, this is why getting the kids into therapy is huge. So they have a safe outlet that they can talk about it, that the therapist is helping them build their self-esteem, and you're helping them build their self-esteem. The more self-esteem you have, the easier it is to see this stuff. It really, People are always like, is it really as simple as self-esteem? Yes, yes, yes. Please, everybody work on your self-esteem, because the more self-esteem you have, the better boundaries you have. As soon as one of these fuckers comes into your space, you're going to be going, ew, energy off. Ooh, don't like that. Oh, listen to the gaslighting. Oh, listen to the hoovering. Oh, listen to the lies. Listen to the projection. Listen to the whatever. And you're just going to be like, not today, Satan. You see where I'm going with that? And so it's the same thing with kids. So it's self-esteem. Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Honest to God, work these books with the kids. Honestly, because what's the narcissist going to say? How dare you work on self-esteem? Well, they could try, but there's not a court in the land that's going to damn you for that. So get the self-esteem workbooks. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I think she has a workbook that's out with that book as well. The Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. It's a great book. Work it with the kids. Help them start building their own self-esteem. Mirror work. Seriously, I know a 13-year-old boy is probably going to look at you and go, really? I don't want to do mirror work. Oh my God. But you know what? If they see you doing it, you're the role model. You are the role model. Behave accordingly. So work on your self-esteem. Do the mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? I give you permission to like yourself, and then walk out. Teach them that. Teach them the positive affirmations. I am a good person. Thank you for your input, inner critic. Fuck off. I am a good person. Teach them that. They're going to need it. You know, they may not have so much of an inner critic when they're younger, but like by the time they get to about 17, 18, there's been so much crap shoved into their head that it's there. I can guarantee it, because that's when I heard mine, is when I was in college. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really nasty. What the fuck? And it was my dad. It all belonged to my dad. So you get them working on self-esteem. That's going to help them. If they've got good self-esteem, they're going to recognize the difference between good, strong self-esteem and somebody that's trying to tear away their self-esteem. So you can't really get someone to see it, but you can do things to help them, help themselves, so that they don't put up with that stuff. So Self-Esteem Workbook, Glenn Schiraldi, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Codependent stuff. Teach them to say no. Teach them that it's okay to say no. And teach them that it's really important to watch how people respond when you say no. So for example, if you say no to an abuser, what are they going to do? They're going to come unfucking glued, because how dare you have your own opinion? How dare you be separate from them? How dare you not just acquiesce and do whatever they want? You know, so in that, it's kind of dicey because they have to be over there, but you just start kind of going, funny, all of these books say saying no is okay and to watch what people do. But then when you say no to your dad, what does he do? You're showing the discrepancy. You're showing the incongruency. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, you're not coming straight out and going, they're a sack of shit liar and they're a hypocrite and all of that, even though they are. But you're letting the kid figure it out by themselves just by showing the incongruency. It's like, you know, it's okay to say no. And people should respect the word no. And if somebody doesn't respect the word no, even if it's your parent, you know, and it's not like a, no, you can't go out and hang out with this bad crowd, but more like a, you know, they're saying no to you to help you, to protect you. But if you're saying no to the parent because they're wanting you to spy on them or, you know, whatever, you have the right to say no. You have boundaries. Does that make sense? So boundaries, self-esteem. Hi. All right. I hope that answered the question. I had a video of my narc touching our youngest. Police decided not to prosecute. I'm afraid court will dismiss the case because the police did too. How do I prepare them for contact with dad? Holy Gewalt. You just do the talk about what your body, you know, I don't know how old they are. So this is kind of it depends on how old they are, number one. But if they're old enough, you talk about, you know, this is your body and nobody has the right to violate it. Nobody has the right to violate it. You know, you stranger danger. But you know what? Most incest cases come from actual family members. So again, boundaries. This is your body. Nobody has the right to touch it. So you just have that talk with them. And you keep the line of communication open and you get a therapist for them so that they have a safe place to talk. Okay, I hope that answered that question. What if that teenager was put before a judge? They would want to stay at Disneyland home. They would tell the judge that. What do you say when in the courtroom? And that has happened. That has happened. So in those cases, in the one case that I'm thinking of, the kid actually decided to stay, told the judge that they did not want to stay with the parent that had the rules, that they wanted to stay with the other parent, and the judge said, okay. So yeah, I mean, there are cases where the kids will do that. And years later, they figure it out. Years later, they don't figure it out. It's a crapshoot. It is a crapshoot. This whole thing with narcissists and kids is so damaging to the children. And the children, of course, don't have the cognitive ability to go, if A, then B, right? Adults, hopefully, have the ability to have a bigger picture and go, okay, I'm doing this now. How is this going to affect me in 5 years? But teenagers don't, right? Because their brains are not fully developed yet. I keep saying that. And they've got all sorts of hormones. So yeah, there is very much the possibility that they will tell the judge they want to stay with the Disneyland parent. You bet. That is the danger. So you let the children know that you love them as much as you can. You give them boundaries. You give them rules. You don't give up on those boundaries or rules. And if they still choose to go with the other parent, oh well. You cannot do anything about it, unfortunately, because of the way the court system is set up and the fact that mental health issues in this country are just fucking ignored. They're unwilling to look at family court issues. They're unwilling to look at the fact that a lot of judges have got issues themselves. They're unwilling to look at these high conflict divorces and realize there's a mental health issue going on there. Normal people don't act like that. So yeah, there is that very real possibility. And that is kind of something that you have to gird your loins for. And what you do is you just continue to try to have a relationship with that child as much as you can. Let them know that you love them. Realize they're going to be lying to you. What I often suggest is if once the child goes over to the dark side, that you write letters, not to them right now, but just write letters, hang on to them. And then when they turn 18, give them the letters. This is what I was thinking about you today. This is what, I love you so much. And this is daily things about them. When you were a baby, you did this when you were, and hopefully that will get a relationship going back again. There is also the possibility that they will take those letters and never look at them. It's a crapshoot and it sucks. And I in this whole mess, my heart breaks for the children because they didn't ask for this. They're young, they're innocent, they didn't do anything wrong, and they get stuck with a bozo parent that is manipulating, controlling, using them as a flying monkey, damaging their self-esteem. It breaks my heart. It does. It really does. Because then they grow up to be broken adults if they do not get the help when they're in the middle of it, which is why I'm saying therapy with a damn good therapist that understands high conflict divorces and personality disorders. Okay. What advice for an aunt or uncle who's watching a narc sibling and narc spouse go through a divorce with kids involved? Well, you just maintain a relationship with the kids. Again, it's like you take them out to lunch, you take them to play baseball, you try to stay in touch with them as much as possible, you give them good advice, you teach them self-esteem as much as you possibly can. You do whatever you can to help those kids have some beacon of sanity. So that's a good way to put it. So you're going to be the beacon of sanity. You're going to be the safe place. You're going to be the one that the kids can come to vent kind of thing. And that is often the case when you get, siblings who are disordered, who've married somebody else disordered, and then the kids are like, freaking out and they need somebody safe to talk to. So be there for the kids. Be that beacon of sanity. Be that calm in the middle of a complete hurricane of chaos, because that's what narcissists do. Even if it's not like both of them are disordered, only one of them is disordered, the narcissist will attempt to create as much possible chaos as possible. They want to bankrupt you. They do. They want to create drama. They want to create anger. They want to create upset. They want to create fear. They want to create mistrust. That's why they use the kids as messengers, so that now you're like, oh my God, what is this child saying to this person, kind of thing. You can't be afraid of any of that. You just let the kids know, hey, privacy, we don't go sharing our stuff with everybody, and I really would appreciate it if you would keep my business separate from your dad or your mom, because it's none of their business anymore. So, and that's the truth. It's none of their business anymore. Once they've divorced you, even though you have kids together, it's none of their business anymore. So, yeah, so that's what I would suggest, is that you be the beacon of sanity in the midst of all of the chaos, of all of the nastiness, of all of the, because they're going to need somebody that they can safely vent to. But now, if the kids vent to you, you must honor the not sharing, because guarantee once the narcissists figure out that the kids are coming to you to vent, they're going to want to know everything that the kids are saying. So you're going to have to think fast on your feet and come up with bullshit, basically, that's non-threatening, because otherwise they'll make sure that you will not have contact with those kids. So take them out to lunch, take them to play games, take them, whatever, especially, fucking COVID, that kind of limits our stuff. But, it's like you stay in touch with them as much as you can. You be the beacon of sanity. You be the beacon of calm. If the narcissist demands to know what you guys are talking about, you come up with bullshit. They were telling me about their baseball game, and they were telling me about school and how hard it is online and blah, 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 blah. Just stuff like that. Nothing serious, nothing personal, because they will use whatever those kids have told you against you and against them in an effort to break that bond that you have with the kids, because they're jealous, oh my God, of dogs, pets, other people, other family members. Yeah. So if they suddenly see that the kids are gravitating towards you, they're going to try to use stuff that the kids have told you, that you tell them, to break the bond with the kids. So be aware of that. So like, if you're going to be the beacon of sanity with them, you cannot share anything with the abusers, because otherwise, like I said, the abusers will do whatever they can to break up that bond with those kids, because they're just jealous. They have to control everything. They have to know everything. So, okay. So, all right, let's see. What else do I need to tell you? Are there any other questions? I'm not sure. Wait. Oh, yeah, there is. Okay. Okay, Narc mom did incestual abuse. As a child, she grew my body. When she was a fashion designer, needed to measure my body changes, memories, yikes. Forced into sex industry, she wanted to watch. Why did she want to watch? Was it all about control? She planned everything, drove me around, dropped me off into abusive situations. I didn't think she wanted to stay there to monitor or protect me. She just wanted to watch. Okay, so yikes. Oftentimes, abusers do incest, both emotional and physical, with their kids. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. So narcissists do that because they cannot differentiate from where they begin and end and somebody else begins and end. So in other words, we have no more meaning to them than this eraser thing. It's like we don't mean anything to them. We're an object to be used. Excuse me. Hang on, I'm starting to lose my voice. Hang on. So we have no more meaning to them than this pen or this eraser. We are an object to be used. They literally see other people as either somebody who aggrandizes them, somebody who strokes their ego, or somebody who sexually pleases them. They don't see the other person as having wants, needs, boundaries, that type of thing. So oftentimes with narcissists, and I think this is probably going to be a topic that I'm going to talk about next week. I think next week I'm going to talk about narcissist weirdness with sex and projection and things like that. So we're going to talk all about this lovely topic. And cheating, especially. So very oftentimes narcissists will be involved with porn. They'll again, because it's objectifying a person. It's not seeing a person as a person. It's an object. And they do that with their own kids. They do that with their own kids. I mean, I talk about it. What the hell's my book? I talk about it in here. My dad sexually molested me. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. God bless him. So, yeah. And there's some books on that. There's one called Silently Seduced by Kenneth Adams. Have not read it, so I can't vouch for how good it is, but somebody recommended that book. They said it was a really good book. They do that because they do not see us as real human beings with real human emotions and real human boundaries. We are simply an extension of them. We are an object to be used to aggrandize their ego. There is no there, guys. When somebody does shit like that, there's no there. That is complete and total dark triad stuff. And so there's no presence there. It's all ego. It's all me, I, more my genitals, really. So, and why do they do that? Is it control? Yeah. Are they getting off on it? Yeah. Is it evil? Yeah. Because you don't do that to other people. You don't force yourself on other people. It's got to be consensual. Thank you very much. So, but especially with narcissistic parents, yeah, they do that incest thing, either emotional incest or actual physical incest. And yes, it is all about power and control. And they're sadists. Remember, I talked about sadism. So when they get down to that end of the spectrum where they are just dark triads completely and they're enjoying it, it's sadistic. They enjoy watching the pain and suffering. And I was able to do that. Sick. It's totally sick. So anyway, that answers that. And they don't protect us. They don't protect us as kids. They don't. And they try to make it so that the other parent cannot protect us either. So, and this is where it's a real tough line walking with the parallel parenting, because you don't necessarily want to teach kids to have secrets, but you also don't want them to tell everything that you're doing, but you also want to know what's going on over there and make sure they're okay. So again, this is where having a therapist involved is going to be very helpful. The other thing you're going to want to watch for is if their behavior suddenly changes, if they suddenly become very sexual, if they suddenly start talking about things that they should not know about. That's when you want to contact DCS and say, there is something going on. This is my suspicion. This is what's happening. Now, whether DCS does something about it or not, kind of a crapshoot there with that as well. All right. I am losing my voice, guys. So anyway, to recap, you're never going to co-parent with these people, ever. It's going to be parallel parenting. You're going to have to undo the damage that the abuser has done to those kids in that 5225 50-50 split. You are never going to get more custody unless you can show that there's neglect or abuse, or that the other parent is giving up their time. And you have to document all of this. You can't just march in and go, well, they're giving up their time. You got to be like, okay, here was our time. Here's, they gave it up. This is another date they gave it up, another date they gave. You got to track all of that. Get support. You're going to need it. Make sure you've got a good attorney that understands high conflict divorces. Make sure the kids are in therapy. Make sure you get right of first refusal so that the narcissist can't just drop off the kids with Joe Blow. They have to give them to you to watch. Make sure that you've got medical approval, what's the word I'm looking for? Medical decision-making, that thing. So get with support groups, read books on parallel parenting that will help you, some tips and things like that. You're going to need to do self-care like a pro, because this is exhausting, and you're always going to be watching for behavior changes in the kids. Always. Make sure they're in with a therapist. Make sure you put that in the divorce decree, that the kids get to be in a therapist, because in a lot of states, you have to have both parents approve for therapy. And especially if there's a divorce, you're going to have to show that it's in the divorce decree. So make sure that you put it in the divorce decree. Oh, Lord have mercy, people. Okay, so next week, we are going to talk about cheaters. We're going to talk about the incest stuff. We're going to talk about all that. Of course, I can't label it that because YouTube comes unglued if I say anything that's, real. So we're going to talk about cheaters, and that's going to include the incest, emotional incest, sexual incest. It's going to include the projection that they do when they're actually the ones out cheating. And we're going to talk more about how they do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, what to watch for, how to get the hell out. Also, the positions that they put people in to use as blackmail later. They do that as well. So All right, kids, that's it. My voice is toast. I will talk to you next week. Have a great week, guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Drink plenty of water and get out and get some sunshine. All right, I will talk to you later. Bye.